Says we are live. It says we are live. I'm doing this a different way, you guys. So hopefully I am making contact with you. Hopefully I'm going through YouTube instead of StreamYards. So it's been forever since I've done this. And it already says there's an error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So, hello everyone, RT Bear here, coming to you live from Hack Shack Studios. I had a special, I got this video camera all hooked up and I wanted to show you some stuff. And I'm hoping I'll be able to do that. I'm not very tech savvy, so I've been working on this for a while to try to get it all set up. So, I know there's a big delay here, especially the way I'm doing this through YouTube versus StreamYards. So as always, you guys, show me a sign of life in the chat. It is always appreciated. Let me know you're there. It lets me know that this is working. It says everything is in order except for this not enough. It says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. So are we experiencing buffering? Capture top moments, create new highlights in the video. I am going to close you. So once I get a sign of life, then I'm going to move forward on this show. If not, I guess I'll have to shut it down and try again. I went in and I set this up in private. Oh, it still says private. No wonder. Public. It should be public. Why is this not... okay. So it says unable to connect with the chat. I mean, we should be public here. It says live. Let's see. I'm going to double check and make sure that this is... It says public. So it also says unable to connect to chat. Try again later. Wow, this is really confusing. Anytime I try to do something different, it always kind of has glitches. So I see you guys. It is up. It says it's live now. So. The video you're about to see. Oh, come on. All right, so yeah, I see you guys in the live feed through YouTube, but I don't see you on my other monitor. So that is really, really weird. So thank you guys. Hello, Art. We have Eddie Winkler. Is that Linkovich? I have Hi, Art. I have Victor Thomas. Hey. I have Mark C. How are you, brother? We hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is so weird. All I see is a stupid ad. Sounds like you're in a tunnel, though. Hold on. I have the microphone set up differently so you could hear the room. Because what I was going to do is kind of show you the studio with a camera and move it around so you can see some stuff. I've been talking about this maquette, this Chrono Mechanics maquette for a while. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show this darn thing off. It just turns out that some of this is more hassle and harder than it seems to be. So I have a camera set up and I'm going to move it around the studio a little bit so you can see this maquette. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the Chrono Mechanics campaign. And then I think I'm going to do a little bit of work because I feel like I should do some work. So I'm going to do some drawing for you guys live. So that's kind of the show I have planned here. And then we're just going to start doing some countdown stuff for the Chrono, the end of the Chrono campaign, which is, we're closing near. I think we have 31 hours left. And man, the backer's been really good today, you guys. So thank you so much for helping get the word out. Thank you for backing this book. I think you're going to be amazed when you read it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be unlike anything you've read before. And I mean that in the best of ways, not in like a scary, like, oh man, this is weird. It will be you know, a little strange, but in a fun, good way. Okay, I'm going to just try this. So I got all these tabs open now. This is confusing. You know, I don't. Okay, let's do this. I don't. You know what? I don't know how to share the campaign through. Because I'm also through OBS, so I'm doing this through OBS. I used to do stuff like this, but I haven't done it in a while, so I'm a little rusty with all this. So live stream, yeah, you guys still aren't showing up in my YouTube. Let me see about OBS. Let's see where you guys. Yeah, you guys aren't in here either. So let me find my webcam. Hopefully you guys can see this. I know we're going to be on a big time delay, so I hope you can see this, because this is the maquette. So this is the Doug maquette. I have one for each one of, the team members. So I got my camera here. I'm going to move it. I'm going to try to be as smooth as possible. These cameras aren't really made for movement. So this thing is about 2 feet tall. It's really big. And what they make maquettes like this for is for animation. So the artist can draw from them. So this is the Chrono Mechanic Doug. So I thought I'd show it off. I think it's pretty cool. And then I can get into detail who sculpted it and everything, because the person that sculpted it is a pretty amazing talent. So let me see if I can get this closer. It's a little choppy with what I can see here. So this is the studio. So this is always on display here at the studio. I have other bodies. They're in storage though for the other mechanics. So let me see if I can move this around to the back. I think I'm casting a shadow on it now. But the time pack came out awesome. So the sculptor's name is Michael Smithson. And a lot of Hollywood guys and artists you probably don't know by name, but his biggest claim to fame is he did all the maquette sculpting for Shrek, the animated movie Shrek, the first one. So he has a cool, is it Farquaad or whatever his name is, the bad guy, he's got in his office. It looks pretty darn cool. So I was really flattered when I got these sculpts from him. So they came out really, really cool. You can see Doug's like uneven smile and his gap in his teeth. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And also he did the designs and did all the appliances and stuff for the character Fat Bastard in the Austin Powers movies. He was also nominated for an Academy Award for that makeup. So he's really, really talented, and it's really cool that I can call him friend. Yeah, he's a really good friend. I've known him for a long, long time. So these are for animation. So there's, if you ever look at the Disney studios, those guys always have like these cool statues right next to their drawing board so they can see the character in 3 dimensions. Look at the boots and everything, man. He did such a great job doing all the work on this. So let me see if I can turn it around slightly, because I can't really move the camera too much. But I feel like I was casting a shadow before on the time pack. So as they got the time pack, we got the orb right here. It's a little bit redesigned from the comic book because the orbs are up here, but he has it here. And then this is the chrono communicator there, and it's obviously way more detailed than the comic book version. But you know, if you're going to do sculpts and 3D animation, you can get into way more detail than you can in the comic. Look at the cog on his shoulder. It still has the Q instead of a C, so it's quantum mechanics at this point. And then here's the hammer. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty cool. And look, he even has like the little stylistic wrinkle or fold in the elbow. And this is really, really cool. He's got the barcode on the side of his head. Get the big chin. I had to kind of, the neck and this right here, this thing's old, so I had to kind of paste it together. The head broke off. And also you can see this is kind of jerry-rigged with the wrench to hold the wrench on there. Yeah, but man, this thing is so darn cool. There's the hero shot with the, you know, Doug calls the thumbs up the double go or the go. So it's his signature gesture. So if he gives you a double go, like 2 thumbs up, then you know you did good. You know he approves. So yeah, look at that. His boots are cool. Yeah, this is so much fun, you guys. I'm being kind of self-indulgent here, I understand, but I just wanted you to see how amazing this is. There's so much cool stuff that I have Chrono Mechanics wise, and even black and white and a lot of other stuff that no one will ever see. So YouTube is fun that I can show off some of this stuff. Yeah, so this is Doug in all his three-dimensional glory. There's his profile. I think his profile looks so cool, man. It's pretty badass. Look at that. What a man. What a mechanic. Sweet mama jamma. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to smoothly move this back and then go to back to my icon here, and then set up the camera on my drawing board. I got to get another camera so I can not have to do this kind of jerry-rig stuff. All in time, all in time. So I should be over here closer to the microphone now too, so hopefully that weird echo is gone. Yeah, if it's too bad, let me know and I'll see if I can do something about it. But like I said, I'm pretty limited on my skill level here as far as what I can and cannot do. So I'm outside of my my normal wheelhouse here. So I'm moving the microphone around, so hopefully this is better sound. And then I'm gonna go to the chat. It's gonna be really stilted because I got a bunch of like OBS open, and I can't see everything at a glance like I can in StreamYard. StreamYard is so awesome. I'm really glad we figured out how to do that because it does help. Okay, let me go back. So I see the chat now. Ooh, I see a big green spot. Let me go back, see where we are at. Hi Art, we got Justin McClure in the house. I can't highlight your names like I can with StreamYard. That stinks, man. We got Dive Ninja in the house. Update your profile image, needs more gray. You suck, man. Dirty Doug. Yeah, Dirty Doug. We have Christina Lynn. Hey, how are you? So, like I said, I can't really highlight any of this stuff anymore. Let me see. No, I can't. So we have Jack CB for $5 super chat. The universe is circular, circular. My first comic was is it circular? Yes, that's circular. My first comic was X-Men 12, and my last comic is Chrono Mechanics. Oh my gosh! Thank you so much, Jake. That's awesome, man. I appreciate it, and I hope to be entertaining you, all you fine people, for years and years and years to come. So I have all kinds of fun things in mind, and I'm gonna see if I can hook this darn camera up over my drawing board now, and see if I can get this set up to draw for you all, because that would be fun, and it would help me get some work done as well, and have somebody to hang out with while we count down Chrono Mechanics. Count down the mechanics. All right, now this is going to be fun because I'm going to have to figure out how to aim this so I can get an image, and I might have to mess with the camera a little bit because sometimes it doesn't like to look at my drawing board right. It gets too much light, and I don't like that, and you guys don't either because you can't see anything. We have Shinto Ketchup. Hey, how are you? Is that Oni 64? Also, the type on this is a lot smaller than StreamYard, so this is all fun. Anytime something changes, man, I fear change. I'm like Garth from Wayne's World. We fear change. Art is the spark of creation. Yes! Yes! You got that right. We got Archgeek in the house. Matthew Fowler, how are you, brother? Minus the caveman, he looks less buffed. The baby Yoda is going to get his own trilogy. What? What? No. Who's gonna do that? No one's gonna do that. Oh, we just got a backer. Sweet Mama Jamma, we got a backer for $25. It's Jacob. Is it Bahile? Well, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. If you are live hanging out with us. Wow, I just went back to YouTube, and the camera is still on Doug. My gosh, this could drive a man crazy. It's like each one of these tabs has its own time zone. Like every time I click one of the tabs, like OBS or YouTube, and then the live stream tab, it's like I'm in the YouTube tab, the live stream tab, and the OBS tab are all on different timelines. So this is bizarre. Okay, so art is the spark of creation. We got that. I like to play. Oh yeah, Garth. I like to play. I'll show you guys. I'll show you a drum set. I got a drum set in the other part of the studio. It's a 6-piece Yamaha with rosewood finish with rack mount cymbals, double kick, 28-inch bass drum. That thing is a monster. It is a monster, and everybody in the neighborhood loves me because it's very loud. They love to hear my drum playing, so I don't do it often. But when I do, no cops come to the door. I'm just saying, they love it so much they never call the police on me. I should do it more often. It's kind of a kick when you got a 58-year-old getting the cops called on him for playing the drums too loud. It makes me feel youthful and like a punk rocker. So the Chrono Mechanics members turn into buff guys when they power up. Yes, Christina Lynn. So I don't know how to share. Let me see if I can figure this out in OBS. If I could share. I know. I think maybe if I can't do it this way, I'll figure out another way to do it. Waltz fault, screen share. Okay, so if I hit screen share, let me see. If I hit screen share, let me see if this works. So screen share, what just happened here? So then I go here. So can you guys see the Well, no, you cannot. You cannot see the IndieGoGo page yet. Is there a crazy delay? Or did I push the button wrong? I don't know, man. This is going to be an adventure. An adventure in how to do things wrong live. There it is. Okay. Okay, where are you? Man, there is such a delay. There it is. Woohoo. Haha, it worked. But like I said, man, it's on a weird time zone. Wait. What the hell happened there? What the heck? Where'd it go? It was there for a minute. Okay. Are we back? I hope we're back. So, yeah, I can't see this. So, hopefully you guys can see the IndieGoGo campaign. This is Chrono Mechanics. They do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. We are at 21,565. We have over 200. We have 298 backers and 31 days left, which was the name of the video. Let me hit refresh and see, because we got a backer. But let me see if this was before or after the backer. Oh, yeah. Well, there we go. It's a 597 now. So thank you so much. We're at 299. So we're almost 300 backers. So maybe we could get a backer while we're talking here, while I'm bugging you guys. Yes, so they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. If you don't know, Chrono Mechanics are time repairmen, and they repair the big machine known as time. So time literally is a big machine. Most people don't know this, but these guys do. So it was built in the very fabric of the cosmos when it was formed. So it's literally a clockwork cosmic machine. It's nuts and bolts, gears, gas, electric. It's got its own cooling system. I mean, it is literally a big, huge machine. And if you could just, no one even knows how big the cosmos are, but yet this machine is built in it. So this machine is beyond comprehension. No one could ever comprehend how big the time machine is that regulates all time and timelines. So that's the machine that they're entrusted to repair. So this is a self-contained 48-page. We're hoping to get to the graphic novel format, and that's at 25K, which we are counting down and very, very close to getting. So it's 48-page comic at this point. If we can get to the graphic novel part, it'll have a cardboard, more of a like a heavy-duty cover, a square-bound spine, and we'll have 6 extra pages at that 25K stretch goal. It is a PG-13 book. So it's not quite for young guys, but it just depends on the sensibility of your kids. So I wanted to put a PG-13 so you guys knew that kind of what the sensibility was, and also that it's not just a kid's book. It's an adult book. So there's going to be, like a PG-13 movie, you can drop an F-bomb in a PG-13 movie. So you can have adult situations, things like that. So Chrono has adult situations. It has some language, and there's some raunch in it, because here's the mechanics right here. Doug, the guy in the middle with the guitar, he is a 70s rock star, and with all the vices that come with rock star, sex, drugs, rock and roll, he embodies it. And so that's where some of the raunch comes in. The womanizing, the drugs, the alcohol, all those good things. So that's kind of sets up the sensibility. It's fun, it's wacky, it's over the top. So the time travel aspects aren't played completely seriously. We have a lot of fun with the time travel aspects of it, which is, I think, for me, for my taste, it's better. Unless it's a one and done, kind of like Terminator, or, I think even Back to the Future, even though there were 3 movies, I thought they did them pretty well, because they stayed with the limitations that they had created for the world and the time travel rules, basically. So with Chrono Mechanics, the time travel rules, we play with them all the time. So we're playing loose with the time travel rules. So In the upper right-hand side with the welding torch, we have Zin. And over to the left with the sledgehammer, we have Caravaggio. And on the right with the giant wrench, we have Oot. So those are Team 9.2 of Sector 7. And Doug is a reluctant participant in this team. So that's what this story is about. You know, will Doug be part of the team? Will, he shape up? Will he not? Who knows? We don't know. The only way you're going to find out is read the book. To read the darn book that you got to back. That's why we're here. Okay, so we have some story pages. So this gets into Doug's antics in the 70s. So one of the aspects of the way Chrono Inc., which is this company right here, is it's a company just like any other repair company, like a plumbing company or electrical company or anything like that. And they operate out in timeless space. So time has no meaning here. So if you're working here, time does not tick away. So you're the same age from the time you came in to the time you leave. So time does not age you here. And so we have all these docking bays and repair bays for the time ships. And then it's kind of like a giant bolt or screw. And then the base of it, as you can see, these lit up ports, those are the ports that will transfer the ships to their work site. So think of the boom tube, the Jack Kirby boom tube. So the time stream is kind of like the boom tube. So they get shot through this, and then they go through the time stream to their timelines and their workstations or their work sites. So this is Doug getting recruited. He's kind of like an Alice in Wonderland type character, or Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So he's being teleported into a world that he doesn't understand, and it's very foreign to him. So he sees these huge kind of spaceman looking people, and he's a little startled. And so then we find out that this is Caravaggio. So he thinks he's afraid because he's seeing him, as the mechanic, and he kind of is. But then he thinks if he turns back into his core self, which is Caravaggio, Renaissance inventor, painter, that he'll be less scared. But as you can see by the poof, he takes off running. He is not anymore afraid. He's probably more frightened at this point. So then he runs into this guy, and then we find out that this is Oot. And Oot is, he's a prehistoric businessman. So we used to refer to him as the prehistoric Donald Trump, meaning that he delves into real estate. He makes his fortune by real estate. So he sells cave condos, and he has amenities in the cave condos, which is fire. And he claims that he invented the fire. So he does very well for himself and his wife, Lemmy, and all the little Oots that are his family. So Oot doesn't really like Doug coming in and ramming into him, so he's gonna punch him out. And so rescued is we find Zin. Zin is like a metaphysical, he's a spiritual character, and so he can levitate things. So he levitates Doug out of Oot's arms, and so then he reveals himself, his core self, as a little squid. And he's in his core and in his world. So he doesn't live here, obviously. He lives on another planet. And he is a child deity. So he is worshipped by lower life forms throughout the galaxy. And his mantra or his teachings are the me, myself, and I, which is a kind of self-reliant mantra. The me, myself, and I. So he's got this little pyramid shape, and that's the Trinity gem. So that's where he filters all his powers through. And so then this page right here is them trying to explain to Doug what's going on. And so Doug doesn't want to have really anything to do with it. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't respect work. Work is a 4-letter word to him. So then at the end, this last panel, he's like, I'm not going to do this, man. He goes, send me back home. You know, I'm backstage right now. I got my groupies. I got my beer. I got my drugs. I want to go back. I don't want to do any work. So then this page right here is out of context or out of sequence. So this is where the story starts getting real good. One of the things about the machine, if it isn't repaired in time, anomalies can happen. So one of the main anomalies is that time starts folding on itself. So the core timeline that our mechanics crash landed in is a prehistoric landscape. So you can see now that there's a 50s cafe that shows up in the prehistoric landscape. So this is not normal. This is not natural. So then our mechanics start getting scared. And then Caravaggio at the end, he's like, you know, with or without this recruit, we need to get the job done. So, you know, this is getting crazy. This is getting out of control. We need to fix the machine before it's irreversible, before timelines become so entangled that we cannot fix them. We can't straighten it out. So this is Doug. He's obviously a ladies' man. So the car hop is thinking he's hot, and they're flirting here. So he's really not into this work thing. So I'm not gonna get too much more into this, but you can see that Doug is not really. The mechanics really aren't in favor of Doug. They can already see that he's a slacker and that he really doesn't want to help out. So he's an outsider. So the three of them decide to go and try to fix the machine on their own. So this is one of the other timelines that are merging in, and this is a Native American village. And so this is the mechanics interacting with them, and they realize that there's something wrong with their battery packs, and it's not good. It is not good. So yeah, so then we have a work in progress sketchbook, which is, I'm really looking forward to putting this together for you guys. So it's going to be a sketchbook like no other. So it's going to be more horizontal than vertical. So it's going to open like a centerfold or a calendar. And it's going to be narrated by Eugene the Elucidator. So Eugene is basically a computer system that keeps track of everything for Chrono Incorporated. So he keeps track of all the mechanics, all the timelines and everything. But he fancies himself as a human, so he wants to be human. So he's kind of a, for the lack of a better term, a living, breathing hologram. So he can walk around and interact with people. So he's going to actually narrate the sketchbook. So instead of me saying, this is what I was thinking when I drew this, he's going to say, hey, this is what Art was thinking. Or when Art was working with Chrono Incorporated, they had these ideas, he drew them up. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to be definitely more Chrono themed than, you know, a normal kind of sterile sketchbook. And so this is some of the sketches that will be inside. Excuse me, this is Doug as Slash from Guns N' Roses. These are some of the little character drawings I did to try to figure out what these guys look like and how their facial expressions would be. So here's some Zen as well. And so then we have the variant cover collection with Superstar Talents. This one is Sean Cheeks Galloway. He did Oot. So that's a cool cover. We have Doug, the Rock Star, by Tom Bancroft. Good friend, brilliant artist, brilliant animator. He does comics as well. So he doesn't just animate for Disney. He does his own comics. And so this is Zin, the intergalactic kid deity. And this is done by the great Aaron Lopresti, comics great Aaron Lopresti. I think he's doing the Justice League now. He's drawing that. And so this is Carlo Barberi. And I worked with Carlo. I worked with most of these guys. I worked with Aaron on Detective Comics and Future's End and a couple other books. I think some early on in his career, we worked together on some X-Men stuff. I think it was the X-Men Annual. So this is Caravaggio, and it's drawn by Carlo. And then it's inked by me in a Chrono style, in a Chrono Mechanics style. So if you haven't heard, the Chrono Mechanics style is unlike any style I've ever worked in prior. So it's pretty unique, and the only place you're ever going to see me draw this way is in the pages of Chrono Mechanics. So these are prints and posters. Stretch goals, you guys have been so supportive. Look at how we're just blowing through these stretch goals. We have 12K we unlocked, 13K, 14K, 15K, which means you get the Superstar Collector cover card set, which is all the great artists I just mentioned in trading card form. So you get those absolutely free. So that's my thank you for supporting this book. Also, I love the stretch goals because I get to come up with some cool collectibles. So it's two-prong. I get to do something cool for you and something neat for myself. Because I get these trading cards too, you guys. And I'm just as jazzed about getting them as you are. So then at 16K, which we have this cool one-of-a-kind based on the cover, Team 9.2 of Sector 7 trading card. And then we have the 17.5 that we unlocked, which is the button, which is the Team 9.2 of Sector 7 button. And this one is cool. 19K, we got the guitar pick, the Doug Lucky guitar pick. Lucky pick, as he calls it. And this is a major prop, and it's a big part of the story, you guys. So this isn't just a fun little guitar pick. This has a lot to do with the story and the character of Doug. So I can't wait to see, for you to see how he interacts with it and what part a silly guitar pick has to do with a big storyline like this. So this is the countdown, you guys, to 25K, 6 more pages. And at 30K, we can increase it into a more of a graphic novel format. And then ultimately, I would like to get to 33K, which is 6 more pages, making the book into a 60-page book from 48 pages to 60 pages. And if we can do that, or when we do that, this book will shine. This book will be everything I want it to be, as far as content, as far as story. But then we go into foil enhancements and so on and so on. So that's the ultimate goal. Oh shoot! I think I'm sharing with you guys, so I should go back here. I forgot how this thing works. So I was thinking I'm still in StreamYard. So yeah, so here is the campaign in a nutshell. So I have to figure out how to go back without doing anything weird. Okay, so if I go back to the top, I'll do it this way because I think we got a couple more backers. I'll just hit refresh because it's probably the safer way to do this. 597, 299 backers. Yes! Thank you guys so much. We are at 21,661. So we're closing in on 22, which means that once we hit 22, then there's only $3,000 to get you the initial 6 pages. So we're at 301 backers. So thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. So now I have to figure out how to get back to the chat because this is all new to me. So I think I go back here and I could webcam. I don't want a webcam. I don't want to do that. I want this. Okay. So I think I'm back to my face. I hope. Like I said, there's all these tabs. Crazy tabs. Okay, so now I go back to YouTube so I can read the chat. And you guys are in a different time zone here. So you guys are still on the IndieGoGo page. So now you get to witness my my faux pas here. And then you're going to get to see some more. There's my camera. And there's what I'm going to show you guys later. And now we're caught up. Okay. This is very fun and interesting. Hey, I wish I could accent this, but thank you, Sierra Whiskey, for putting a Chrono link in the chat. We have Arthur Brown. Hey, brother. We have Nighthawk Warrior. I think he's got a killer IndieGoGo book out too. So Doug is more like Ted Nugent, Bob. He's kind of a cross, since he sings, I know Ted Nugent sings too, but Ted Nugent, I think he sings okay, but he's kind of more of a Steven Tyler in the form of his pipes, his singing voice, and he's more of a bombastic guitar player like Ted Nugent. So he's a little bit of a hybrid of those two '70s icons. Uh, Doug is based on you when you were in a rock band. Yeah, one of the things I had a friend point out some years ago when I was developing this, he said, like and share, have a great stream, sir. Thank you, Bob. He said that each one of those four characters are like you, as far as personalities and what they do. So you have a artist. You know, Caravaggio is an artist. You're an artist. You have Oot, who's a businessman. I run a studio, and just to be a freelancer in this comics industry, you have to be somewhat of a businessman. And then we have Zin, who's he's a bit of a pontificator. He's a blowhard. I can be a blowhard from time to time. My wife tells me I'm a blowhard all the time. So there's there's the Zin comparison, and then ultimately there's Doug, which at my soul, my heart and soul, I'm a rocker. I'm a rocker. So yeah, they're all kind of pulled from aspects of myself. Which, if you're going to do these indie books, I think they need to be a little bit more personal, less sterile. And so Chrono is a very, very personal story concept. It's very unique. And really, if you can't bring your own voice to these things, then what's the point? If I just wanted to knock off a DC or Marvel concept, I could, but why do that independently? I could just stay at Marvel and DC and do it. So when I decided to be more independent and start doing indie books, I decided that these were going to be very personal. These are going to be not just story, but concept and art as well. So I want each one of these books to have a slightly different style. I want to mix it up. I want to keep it interesting. And just as an artist, I want to use this platform to grow as an artist. And as long as people like yourself in the chat support it, I can keep, creating and keep pushing, new boundaries and trying to entertain you in new and unique ways, which Chrono Mechanics is definitely on. Well, it's going in that direction, definitely. Doug was the lead from Spinal Tap. Yeah, he definitely lives the Spinal Tap lifestyle, you guys. He's not a real sharp guy. Let's just say that. Christina says, wait, where was that? I thought I saw. Wait a minute, I saw an Aaron Lopresti thing. I thought it was Christina. Oh, there she is. Is Aaron Lopresti the one who did Garbage Man? Yeah, and he's got an active campaign going on right now. So I think his is going on longer than mine. So if you could prioritize, put the money in this, get yourself a book, and then next week pick up a Garbage Man. It's weird because the way these things sometimes overlap, and we all help each other. But I realize sometimes you guys are on a budget and you have to prioritize things. So actually, that was a little presumptuous for me to tell you how to prioritize yourself. I mean, pick up the book if you really like it. Who am I to say? So we have another Christina Lynn. Can you talk about the golden ticket? I can. So the golden ticket is at, what was it at, 50-something K, 55K. And what we're going to do that's going to be really, really fun. The golden, it's called the golden time card. So 1 out of 10, if we hit that stretch goal, 1 out of 10 backers is going to get one of these cards put in their comic book. So when you get the book sent to you and you find one of these cards, fill it out, sign your name just like a normal time card. You got to log your hours and all that other good stuff, so it'll be fun. Send it to me, and I will do a 9x12 Doug sketch for you guys. Absolutely free, and I'll send it to you. No additional shipping, no nothing. So when we get to 55K, it's just my way of thanking you guys in a really, really big way by giving you free drawings. I'm lost in time. Called Chrono Mechanics. Yeah, Shinto. I'm lost in time. All right, so I do want to get some work done. How long have we been going? I think I'm just gonna ink some of the foreground elements on this piece, and let's see if I can get this stuff to work without messing anything up. So I believe I go to OBS, and then I go to the webcam. And the webcam should be set up. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Of course. There's way too much light. You guys can't see anything. Let me see if I can magically make this appear for you guys. Yeah, but look at that. Now it's all grainy because it's too dark and I can't see anything. Okay. Let's see if we can fix this. If I maybe turn the light. See, that one's really bad. Oh, I know why it's bad. Okay, hold on. I gotta fix this real quick. Sorry, guys. I am prepared for all this, but I had to do this in such a different way to show you the Doug statue. So this is a commission that I'm doing for Kevin, who's always in the chat and a big supporter of Chrono Mechanics. So let me see if I can fix this by moving it up here, and then maybe I can turn some more light on. Oh, guess what? That worked. So hopefully you guys can see this good, and I'm going to start inking some of the foreground elements. I'm a little rusty. I haven't inked in a couple days. I've been in busy kind of YouTube mode trying to, promote Chrono Mechanics. So let's see. I'm going to ink a little bit, and then I'm going to check and see if you guys can see well. I'm going to take this hat off because the hat's probably hiding what I'm trying to do. And while I'm inking, I need to speak up. Otherwise, you guys won't hear me. This is such a weird, strange, artificial way to do to do things. So it still takes me back a little bit, or aback, I should say. So, I think, who is it? It's Clownfish TV did a little rundown. If you haven't heard, I did an art. Well, I did a YouTube show. I thought it was pretty harmless, where I talk about being fired from Marvel and just sharing with you guys my experiences and what that was like and things like that. Because I think that stuff's interesting when I hear people say these things. And it wasn't like a kiss and tell. It wasn't really meant to be sensationalized or anything like that. It was just kind of me sharing, part of my life and what happened. And there are people too that ask me, why don't you work for Marvel anymore? Well, guess what? Now they know. So it's kind of setting the record straight as well. So Clownfish did a little rundown on the Bleeding Cool, did an article on it. And I don't dislike anybody. I don't hate anybody really. But he did a Bleeding Cool article, and I don't think he meant he was trying to put me in a good light. I think he kind of did a little bit of because even the title is a little bit of a shot at me, where he's like I decided to tell this story about being fired from Marvel to sell Chrono Mechanics books. I'm telling you right now, you guys, I wish I thought I wish I was more like that sometimes, because I think, man, if I really wanted to be sensational, it wouldn't be that hard. I could have done it a year ago. It's not really in my personality to do that stuff. I would rather try to build a career on integrity and on good work. And so Clownfish did a little expose, an article on it, and it was very cool and it was very fair. And I highly recommend checking it out after this. I like that show a lot. I think those two. It's Neon and Geeky Sparkles, and that's their birth name. That's the name their mamas gave them. It's not. Well, you know what? I don't really know. It could be. But they're great people, and I think they have really interesting observations about geek culture. Seems weird to say something like that, but I guess that's the way everybody refers to it. And I think they definitely have a love for all of this stuff. Star Wars, Marvel comics, comics in general, DC. All these indie books. I think they have done independent books as well and worked in the comics industry. So they're pretty familiar with it and how the ins and outs work. So I thought he did a pretty honest rundown on his take on everything. Because also your boy Zach did a little his take on it as well, and so he talks a little bit about that too. So this was all kind of unintended on my part. I really didn't have a master plan on anything, so it was quite a shock. So I think the biggest allegation or the biggest thing is just that Rich Johnson, I think, said that I had been paid by DC to woo talent or to try to, grab talent. And that there's no way that happened, and there's no way that he can prove it because it simply didn't happen. And the only people that would know or be able to say any of like speak out and say that, I was on the take or whatever, are CB, David Bogart, Joe Quesada, and maybe a handful of others at Marvel. But they wouldn't be able to. It would have to be from DC. Like DC Comics would have to say, oh yeah, we paid Art X amount of money to get these guys. So it's ridiculous, but I thought it was good, and I basically, the reason I'm even saying this is I want to bring you guys over to Clownfish TV because I do like what they say, and I think it's an interesting, cool insight that those guys have on a lot of stuff, and they're definitely coming from the fandom's point of view, and that's pretty cool. I don't know, like a year ago when I was starting to do more YouTube work and entertaining the idea of being a YouTuber, I didn't think much of it. I kind of just did it, just like any other social media to, like just get into it, see what it's all about. And at first I was kind of like, it didn't really do much for me. But at this point, having met all you guys in the chat and get to hang out and hear feedback, and you guys are funny as you guys are hilarious, man. I feel like it was the right move. I feel like that it was it was the right move, and just hanging out with you guys and getting feedback and stuff and things like that makes it all worthwhile. I don't feel like I don't feel lost. I don't feel like it's not working out. Or at first, I kind of felt, to be honest, I felt stupid. I felt stupid doing this because I was like, who's gonna really want to listen to anything I have to say? Who's gonna tune in? You know, it was just kind of, a bizarre, kind of artificial, way of doing things, talking. Like right now, I'm just talking right at my drawing board. I have a mic right next to me, and I have lights, and there's a camera. Like it's just kind of weird. It's interesting. It's fun now, but it was a little strange at first. So I don't mind telling you. And the people that do it well, hats off, man, because it really is a skill. It's figuring out how to communicate, how to work, how to connect with people. So I think it's starting to work. I think I also, it's just, I think it's trying to find your voice. Like what is your voice in all, in with all of YouTube? What makes you unique? What is your voice? And so I'm kind of figuring out what it is. And I think on some level you guys helped me define it, where it's like, well, he's the old boomer guy that's been doing comic books for 35 years. That's who he is. And he's going to tell us, stories of comic books, insight on, how comic books were and how they, how we got here, and just like history and behind the scenes stuff. And so, it's pretty cool. I almost feel like, you got the old guy sitting in the rocking chair, and he's got the young kids by the fireplace. He's like, "Let me tell you about this." And then hopefully the kids don't fall asleep on him. Okay, you guys, I got to try real hard not to go into chrono mechanics mode. That's the one thing when you work in many different styles, that you have to not fall back into patterns. So you have to remember where you want to be stylistically, so you don't, so it doesn't look like it's a chrono mechanics drawing. So I was hoping I'd be able to open up my commissions before the end of the year, but so I could get drawings done for you before Christmas time, but it just didn't really work out. So I imagine, and this is just for anybody that's that wants to get a commission, I'll probably open the commissions list in February. So early first of the year. So you'll probably all be broke by then, but Christmas time is here. Yeah. Wow, I thought these rocks would be, I'd be in and out of this. But there's a little bit more. Let me give you a little zoom in on what the lines look like so far. So I got some wet ink over there, so I'll have to flip it around. So I'm trying to stay really smooth with the smoke, but also I'm varying the pressure on the nib as I go around, so it doesn't just look sterile, flat like a coloring book. And so what else I'm doing, and I might go back to the rock that she's standing on, I want to make some of these lines a little thinner back here. But the problem is this is going to be big. This is big scale. So usually when you ink a bigger scale image, you want it to be thick. So the really I guess where I have to be careful is I can't do a traditional like foreground, midground, background, because there's also scale involved. So what I mean by that is usually smaller scale stuff like this skull would be like, like the small, like the farther away. This would be a medium, and then this would be a close-up. So each one of these skulls would be inked differently. So this would be a thinner line weight, thicker, and then the thickest. But the problem is if I make this skull right here too thick, it's going to, one, compete with her, and then it will compete with these rocks. But what I also want to do with these rocks is I want this shape here, the main rocks that she's standing on, I want those to stand out. So I may have to go and adjust as I ink, because it's just the way it's going to have to be until I can figure out the balance. So, now I think about it, I probably shouldn't even go back on this. So I'll develop the whole thing in ink, and then I'll figure out how the line weights are developing. Because at this point, I don't really have a clear idea of how to prioritize my thicknesses. So get the smoke, like I said, move your hand very smoothly and just alter the pressure on the nib. And that's all you have to do. This is a great nib too. Like sometimes you, as an inker, you find like a tool that really works, and it makes the job easier. And this is a really good nib, and it's broken in perfectly. It's perfect. So I appreciate all you guys hanging out. I'm gonna make this one really a little thicker because it's in front of this one. But see, if I would have come back and made this one thicker, then I would have had to make this one even thicker. So it looked like it was in more the foreground. So I'm glad I didn't go back on that, because I was close to doing that. So I'm going to try to move a little faster so I can get to the chat. It's like my reward to see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, I really didn't know what else to do today for the last day of the Chrono campaign. So I decided to work. I'm going to see if there's anybody else YouTubing later tonight. See if I can get on a stream just to hang out. I went on Sweetcasts last night. Clint is a great guy. I met him not too long ago, and there's people personality wise that you connect with, and I think we really connect. So I like him. I like what he says. I like his show. So um, he invited me into. We have like these private chats or these uh, DM rooms or whatever they call them, and so I think I'm part of the Sweetcast group. So that's really cool. It makes me happy. Oh, and if you haven't heard, the black and white books are in. All of them are in from the printer, and so all 1,700 books are in, and all the variants. Well, not all of them. There's just one variant, but the Grey Capullo variant is in as well because I got asked a little bit from some people like when are the Grey Capullo variants going to ship, and they're shipping now. Actually, Pamela put a batch of books together today and got them out, and I saw her pack them, and some of them were the Capullo books. So, and all of the PDFs are out, you guys. So, if you haven't received your PDF yet, let us know, and we'll make sure you get those. Yeah. So, as far as the black and white stuff, it's going to be going out until we finish it. So, I don't really have an ETA. My wife Pamela is handling all of that. So I'm not sure exactly when she's thinking it'll be done. But just like all of this stuff, we don't really know what any of it's going to entail until we do it, quite frankly. So I believe she's looking to try to wrap it up in January, though, and trying to get as many books out as she can in the in this Christmas rush. So they are going out now. They have been as well, but we paid for an advance shipment of books, and so those were the ones we have been sending out. But now we have all the books. We have everything that we ordered, so we have enough, to do the whole campaign. Fulfill all the orders. And so I do appreciate all the support on the black and white campaign, and all the support so far on the Chrono campaign. So I kind of did a little broken line there and a broken line here because there's some mist that's going to go back here. So I don't want to give it too much of too much. I don't want to make it look too solid, I guess. Like this one too, like on the other side. I don't want to make it too thick. So I want to push it back into the background a little bit. So we establish some planes and some depth. But like I said, this is going to be a tricky one because also the skulls they're not really tangible. They're just kind of like a ghost image in the background. So they're not in real time with her. So it's a little different working on. So there's some smoke back here, and see how I'll dissipate this smoke here as well. well, the rock dissipates, and then the smoke here is going to fade into this. All of this back here is going to be smoke, and then it's going to fade in a crosshatch pattern. I don't know if you guys can see it, into a solid black. You can probably see it a little bit better over here because I have more resolved. Yeah. So, in a way, I'm looking forward to the campaign ending so I can really start drawing again. I've been trying to get as much done as I can. I finished up. I actually showed it off too on the Sweetcast program last night, or show last night. I think it was page 38. I have such a horrible memory. I can't remember hardly anything. Let me see. I got my book right here. My book of stuff. So if it was 38, and if it's a 48 page book, that means we only have 10 more pages. Actually, it's further along. 38. Wait. Where are we? What page did I just do? I did 39. So 39 got finished last night. So, I still have a couple things to do, little things to do, and then I'll send it out to Narwhal. If you haven't heard, there's a brilliant colorist. His name's Narwhal, and he will be doing the color work. So pretty much everything you see on the IndieGoGo campaign page has been colored by him. The cover, actually all the covers are done by other people. But that was no slight to him, because to be honest, a lot of that was done before he even came on board. Because I hate sometimes where it's like, oh, the same guy that does the interior doesn't do the covers. And that was just kind of just the way the timing worked out. It would be nice to do some more high profile stuff with him, even if it was just a cover for somebody else. It could be fun. The sky's the limit. So this smoke as well, I'm going to ink it thinner. So if you can see between that and this smoke in the foreground, it's a little thinner. So I'm trying to create depth with the line weights as much as possible. And it's weird because sometimes it seems like it's such a minimal change, but it's all those little things that help sell that it's three-dimensional. This is a flat plane, but we have to fool your eye into thinking that it's dimensional. So any way you can do that, it helps the image out. So I'm closing in on finishing these rocks. So that's cool. I'm going to go to the chat real quick and see what you guys are up to. And then I'll come back and finish these rocks and smoke. I guess more the background aspects. So here's kind of what I've been working on. All right, so let's put that there. I'm going to go over here and find this. And then hopefully I'm coming over. Yeah, it worked out. Woohoo! Wee-ha! All right. Where are we? We have Flux Core, Chrono Mechanics. They do more before the dawn of time. Most people do all day. RT Bear, 2 campaigns. We're at 2161. and of 8,000 flexible gold. 30 hours left, so we just lost an hour there. Sorry. What is that? 2,000 K? 2,000 K? I don't know what that is, FluxCore. I'll have to go back in the chat and figure out. So we get Christina Lynn, RT Bear, Doug T has been doing lots of evening streams lately, so you could ask him to be on the show if he's on tonight. Oh, yeah, that's an idea. Oh shoot, I should do that. Let me see if I. Oh shoot, I gotta do this somehow without messing stuff up. So if I go to Photoshop, can I grab those? I have a bunch of quotes, you guys. I have a Doug TeNapel quote about Chrono Mechanics. So Doug is a fan of Chrono Mechanics from way back. Oh yeah. Okay. This is interesting. FluxCore. I was gonna mention this yesterday. Zach said to ask RT Bear if Marvel flew you to the con. Marvel did not fly me to the con. That was all out of my own pocket. And the table was they charge most artists, but I have an art dealer friend that set up my table, so I didn't have to pay for that. But that wasn't Marvel. Marvel doesn't do stuff like that. I mean, you have to be a huge star for Marvel to fly you out and pay for your housing and your hotel and stuff like that. So that's a good question. Did he say that? FluxCore, tell me if he said that. Yeah, Zach fired you too. When did Zach say that? Did he say that recently? I just like to know the timeline on, because I know he said it in his video that he thought I was flown out and everything. Okay, so we're back to the golden ticket. Judge Anderson, yeah, that's Judge Anderson that I'm working on. Yeah, I have a tendency to bounce back and forth with a lot of things at the same time. I think it's probably a little bit of a backlash too to Marvel and DC, where I had to stay very focused on one page, get it done, send it out, work on one page, finish it, send it out, kind of thing like that. So I'm kind of enjoying bouncing around with different stuff right now. Working on Chrono Mechanics, working on the commissions, writing. Yeah, people that think art had motives are just trying to be inflammatory and trade drama for clicks. Thanks, King Crow. I appreciate that. Rhaegar Targaryen. Art is there to tell about watching the moon landing on TV. Watching it, dude. I was there. Houston, we have a problem. I was right next to that guy when he said that. Non-Disney canon. A lot of talented artists at Alterna. I'm working with... Oh, is Michael Beacon an artist? A lot of talented artists at Alterna. I'm working with Henry Ponciano, who worked on Tinseltown. He does amazing work. The poster he did for our campaign amazed Ethan and Malin. Oh, cool. So it looks like, is Michael a writer, maybe? I gotta check that out. Also, I'm working with Pablo Romero, whose social media has exploded since he offended the "Where Are Her Organs" crowd. Oh, jeez. Everybody gets hurt so easy now. Wait. Paid for an event or advanced shipment. Skullduggery afoot. Yes, FlexCore. Skullduggery. Chilling, watching art do his magic. Is that Simeon 7? I can't see really well. The print on this, like through YouTube, is really tiny. It's, man, I'll tell you, I'm really missing StreamYard. I am so missing them. So I wonder if FluxCore had an answer yet. Let me see. If you're sacked, wait a minute. Oh, so FluxCore says yes. Okay. Yeah, I definitely was not paid to go to that convention. I don't think Marvel ever paid for anything like that for me. If I get paid expenses and things like that, it's usually through a promoter. I used to work with a promotion company a couple years back, and they would take a percentage of my earnings, and they would set up shows and book me gigs and things like that. And I do have a per diem that I charge, and it's usually room, meals, and flight, and then a per diem on top of that. So that's usually how I do it now. But I don't think DC used to have these what were they called? Like they were these powwows, right? So I remember on Superman, summits they called them, like the Superman summit. They would have like the Superman team come to New York. They'd put us up. We would hang out, do some stuff socially. We would eat, and then we would just brainstorm for the next year on books and storylines and things like that. That's where the death of Superman came from. It was one of those Superman summits. So Jerry Ordway always used to say, "Let's kill Superman," just as a joke. And so then after, because we were going to do a whole wedding of Lois and Clark, and they wanted to do it on the TV show. So the TV show bumped us from doing it in the comic. So then everybody was frustrated and said, "Well, what else could we do? That's kind of a big event." And they said, Jerry then threw out, "We could kill Superman again," as a joke. And at that moment in time, people took it seriously, which is interesting. So if you guys, if you have an idea, just keep throwing it out there, because eventually maybe somebody will do it. It'll stick. King Crow, I wish people would have a conversation with the people they are about to do videos on before they release videos. But again, most of these people are just trying to get clicks. Yeah, I'm starting to come around to the way all of this stuff works. So it's very artificial and very, very peculiar to me. But I am starting to figure out how it works. And I think the biggest thing is not to take any of it personal. So if you realize that people are doing things for clicks, then just try not to take them too personal. That's what I do. I try to do, at least. But at the same time, if somebody does say something, you have a platform and you can try to set them straight. But I don't believe like you should necessarily do it in a vindictive way. I try not to do it in a vindictive way, even though sometimes it does hurt and you want to lash out. But it's not always the right thing to do. And lashing out usually leads to more problems anyway. So there's really no point in it. Oh, Slick Rick says, "Why are you people who hate drama always, what is it, banging on about drama?" Exactly. Yeah. I just tried to clear the air. Last night, Cecil and Zach talked about New York for 2 hours, Wonder Woman for 30 minutes, and Iron Sight trailer for over an hour. Art was mentioned at most for 5 minutes. Oh, okay. But enough to start drama. No, I'm just kidding. See what I did right there? I was starting drama. I am writing and coloring Stephen. Okay, this is Michael Beacon. I am writing and coloring Stephen Legions and Pablo. Oh, 7. I'm sorry. I am coloring 7 Legions. I'm told you guys. I can barely see this print. And Pablo and Henry are doing the line art. I'm also coloring Pablo's work on Cyborg USA. Actually flattening a page while listening to the stream. Cool, man. It's good to have you in here and you know, artists hanging out. This is good times. Old beefs, yeah. Well, even like Marvel, it is what it is. It was 15 years ago. I don't really care. They can't hurt me at this point. You know, they've already done all the damage. So, but the one good thing, I talked to Rob Liefeld about this too. The one good thing about this, because I shared this story with him years ago when we were working on Hawkman, and he said, you know, it's good to have a heads up, and it's good to say these things because when you deal with companies, sometimes you think they're your friends. You think that, you know, they're not going to hurt you or they're not going to do anything, you know, I don't know. I don't even know the word for it. To hurt you. They're not. They're just going. They're your friends, and a lot of times they're really not your friends. The weird thing about this industry is that we're friends, but we're also always competing for work. So, you know, it's kind of a weird dynamic where you're this guy's friend, but at the same time you're competing against that person. So it's a real interesting dynamic with doing comic books. So there's some people that you know in the industry you establish really good friendships, and you know that they wouldn't screw you over, but then there are others that would. And so I guess the idea is going into it knowing that not all these people are going to be your close friend, and so you shouldn't always tell them everything. I remember my wife when we were dating, she goes, you talk to everybody like they're your best friends. And she goes, these are acquaintances, Art. Some of these people aren't your friends. And I was like, no, they're all my friends. And then you get screwed over and then you realize. But I think it's better to trust and to go in like not so much innocent, but trusting. And then once it happens, then they show their true colors, and then you can identify it and move on. Okay, so having said that, caught up in the chat, let's go back, webcam, and see if we can finish these rocks for you guys. Because that's what it's all about. It's about the work, getting the work done, doing good work, entertaining people. That's what I like. Let me make sure it won't slide down. Oh, if you guys like music, I have it written down here. One of my favorite drummers is Mike Portnoy. And I didn't know this. I don't know why I didn't know this, but he's got a band called Sons of Apollo. I think they're kind of like a fusion, like a heavy fusion Christian band. I don't know. Some of the themes sound very Christian-like, but it's on par with, like, it's kind of Dream Theater-ish. I think actually the keyboardist in that band is from Dream Theater as well. So if you don't know, Mike Portnoy was the drummer for Dream Theater, and Dream Theater is crazy progressive, like a hard rock progressive band. And I always say, like, I like the band, but I think the singer kind of, I think, is the weakest link in that band. but Mike he's a monster on the drums, and so I believe that they have Billy Sheehan on the bass, and was Billy in Racer X like way back when, or was his big claim to fame? I think he was in that band Mr. Big, and then he was David Lee Roth's bass player. So I think his biggest claim to fame was in the David Lee Roth band. So he's in there, and I went to like a progressive, like a prog show with Norm Rapman. We saw Yes, and oh my gosh, who else was there? This is just a bunch of progressive bands, and there was this guitar player, this young guy, or youngish guy. He's younger than most of the other guys that were in these bands, and he wore he had a beard, but the beard was braided like a pirate, and he was wailing. He also sang for this band. He was just filling in. He was, like, because a lot of those older prog rock bands, there's dead members and stuff like that. So he was filling in for somebody that died. Maybe it was Asia. Maybe he was the lead guy, because I think it was Yes in Asia. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. But he's the guitar player for that Sons of Apollo as well. And he's phenomenal, man. He plays like this like double neck guitar. And I guess that's kind of his iconic thing, because he played that when we saw him as well. So he's in that Sons of Apollo too. And like I said, the keyboard player for Dream Theater is in that band as well. And I think the reason I like prog rock is I like classical music as well. And so prog rock is like edgier. It's like if Mozart and Beethoven and those guys were making music today, it would probably be like prog rock. And because the musicianship is always just extraordinary. And so there were a couple songs that Sons of Apollo did that I thought was pretty killer, man. So I always like it when people turn me on to new music. So if you guys if you like kind of prog or heavier, like tech, more like technical type of players, then you'll probably like that band. The singer, it's so funny because I think the singer in most of those bands is the weak link. Like even a band like Rush or something like that. Not that, I'm on throw shade at, what's his name, Geddy Lee or anything, but I mean, that dude's got a weird voice, you have to admit. So usually those prog bands have like not so good singers. So I think my favorite prog rock kind of singers is that this is gonna age me, man, as if I haven't already aged myself, but a band named Kansas, that singer for that band is frickin' amazing. Like, that guy was really good. So that's an example of like a prog rock band with a really good singer. And I believe also that's why they were able to break more into the mainstream, because that guy is a really good singer. If you have a singer that's a little too weird or peculiar, I don't think the mainstream really accepts it. I mean, there's always exceptions, but also Mike Portnoy filled in for the Rev of Avenged Sevenfold when the Rev passed. So I think he did part of the tour, and he also did one album, I believe, with Avenged. And I do believe that the Rev was a Mike Portnoy fan. So it was kind of a natural fit. But a pretty awkward and probably thankless position to be in, to try to follow a beloved drummer like that. And he wasn't just a drummer, like he wrote music with them and stuff like that. So the Rev, what was his name? Jimmy. I hung out a couple times with that guy. He's a pretty cool dude. Yeah, I could just imagine where Avenged would be right now if they hadn't lost that guy. Because I think the album just before he died, they were showing some major growth, and that guy Jimmy was coming into his own. He was contributing musically, and I think he was also doing some backing vocals. Like he was doing like those scream yells, which is pretty badass. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in a while. It kind of bums me out. I wonder what that Avenged band, I've kind of fallen out and stopped following them. I wonder what they're doing now. They're getting older. It's so weird how time just passes. Like I still kind of think of them as a younger band, but they've been around for quite a while. I don't even know if they're still together. If anybody in the chat can tell me if Avenged is still around, I will avenge you sevenfold. My wife and kid are at the mall. It's 7 o'clock. I'm getting nervous. They left around 4. How much is this going to cost me? I don't know if there are any men in the house that have, like a wife and daughter. But if you do, you know what I'm talking about. It makes you a little bit nervous. All right, I'm going to go down here. Connect that up. This is the edge of the debris that she's standing on. So this I don't want to make too solid either, because there's mist kind of climbing up in through here. So I want to make sure that these lines aren't too heavy. Because then if they're too heavy, I don't think the mist idea is going to work. Okay, well, I'm going to go back over here. I think the ink is dried. So I'm going to go to chat and see if you guys want me to finish all this noodly hatch stuff, or if I should bid you adieu. They have most of the structure in. There's just some rendering on these rocks, if you can see the pencils. But pretty much the structure's in. So if you're coming in late, this is a commission that I'm putting some time in. Try to get it done. Get her done. So let me go back to the chat. Okay, so I'm back. Art Master. So have I lost you guys? Are you guys snoozing right now? Also, the walls of... Oh, wait. We're talking music. Oh, cool. Let me go back. Mike Portnoy fan. Yes. I got to see that. My friend... What are they called? They're called the Winery Dogs. So that's also Billy Sheehan. And I think it's the guitar player singer for Mr. Big, too. It's a 3-piece with Mike Portnoy. And I think they have a couple albums out. I have the first one. But my friend got me in. And, oh my gosh, we were ringside seats to Mike's drumming. Holy shit, man. That guy boggled my mind. I appreciate any talent that just is that good. Like any musician, any painter, any, comic book, any of that stuff, man. I am in complete awe of. And, yeah, that guy, he wails. And he makes it look so easy. And he's definitely a showman, too. So he's not really laboring. Like, what is his name? Neil Peart. Like, that guy is, like, really serious behind the drums. And he's very technical. And he's kind of to himself. And he does some flashy stuff. Like, he'll throw the stick up and catch it and things. But Mike Portnoy is, like, he's connected to that crowd, man. Oh, excuse me. Oh, wow. Excuse me. He's like Buddy Rich or one of those old jazz drummers where they would really kind of, go to the crowd and interact. Oh, is it Mike? How do you say his Mangini is the Dream Theater now. Another great. Oh my gosh, yeah, that guy's great. He's the guy with the killer kit, right? He's got like some kind of sci-fi comic book artist drawn kit. That thing boggles your mind. And usually when he plays it, he'll hit each one of those drums at least once. So we have Dart Cisco. Hey brother, how are you, man? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the show. And Mr. Big, yeah, okay. You guys are, yeah. And played with Steve Vai. Steve Vai was the David Lee Roth band. Yeah, I mean, you're hard pressed to find a bass player that can keep up with Steve Vai, but Billy Sheehan does, man. And you know what? He's an older guy. He still looks pretty good, man. I think he's played with everybody. He's kind of like Axeman for hire. In Talus? Is that not Tesla, but Talus? What is? Okay, I'm gonna have to look. Billy was in Talus. I'm gonna have to write this down because I'm always looking for new music, and I can't believe how Talus has flown under my radar. Talas. All right. Yeah, Rush is. I think Rush is considered prog rock. Because also Geddy Lee was a big Yes fan. What is his name? Chris Squire? Like, you listen to Chris Squire's bass playing and you listen to Geddy Lee's bass playing, it's like the same. And even, I think, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when Yes was inducted, Chris Squire, R.I.P., man. What a loss, that the music industry with that guy, man. I think Geddy Lee sat in for him. Carry On Wayward Son, yeah. That dude's got the voice, man. The prog rock's there to back him up, but that dude's got a voice. And I think that guy who plays violin sings too. So they have two pretty good singing voices in that band. Unless you're Tool. Oh, Tool is another great. I think Tool is. They kind of get the prog rock nod, don't they? Yeah, the Rev idolized Mike. Yeah. Oh. What is that? Linkovich knows. He knows his rock. Tool is not that great. You know what? I'll say one thing about Tool, the band. They're really inconsistent. Like, they have some really great stuff, some amazing music,
but it seems a lot of time, and I hope I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, they seem like the same song. But when they are firing on all six cylinders, their album, they're pretty good. Like some of their albums, that's why I like prog rock, because you can just get lost in the music, kind of like classical music, and a good Tool album can do that for me. Yeah, Jimmy Sullivan, that's the drummer. Yeah, I have pictures. I should go get them. I have pictures of me and Jimmy together. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna find my image. Are you guys talking? Are you guys talking? You guys talking? Okay, I'm gonna switch over to my camera. I'm gonna brag on myself a little bit here. These things are probably all dusty. Okay, I gotta go to OBS and I'll show you some of my Avenge stuff. OBS webcam. So this is oh, look at, there's a reflection of the camera on the glass. That's hilarious. So that's Jimmy's. It's Jimmy, and this is just before they broke really big. So the Hainers are family friends. They just live up the highway a little bit. So we kind of remember Sinister Gates before he was this rock god, and all these little knuckleheads. I think they went to one of Amanda's recitals when she was. They went to school together. Amanda and the little Hainer daughter. I'm not going to say her name. I'm not going to out anybody. So yeah, so this was backstage, and we got to hang out. So they're really cool people. And so then there's this. So thanks, Art, so much for the support. My dad needs it. Ha ha ha. Because his dad sometimes plays on their albums. And Brian Hayner Sr. is a really, really good guitar player as well. So he writes jokes and stuff. He's a joke writer. He writes for Jeff Dunham, the comedian, and he is guitar guy for Jeff Dunham. So he plays. He's a character in Jeff Dunham's act. So that's a little boasting, a little bragging. So that's real cool. Those guys are really awesome. So, Darcisco. Hey everyone. Okay, I'm back too far. Oh, Racer. One was the basis for Racer X, and Central Scrutinizer was. Was it Paul Gilbert? Was he the guitar player for Racer X? I always love those guys. Christina Lynn says Geddy Lee's voice is weird, but I still like. I do too. I was just talking about like more mainstream voices. Yeah, I wasn't like saying that I don't like it, because Louis Bellson is the father of the double bass. Yeah, that guy's. God, Linkovich. Jeez, you know everything. That's cool. You guys are awesome. I like that we can talk comics and we can talk music. Who's been in comics longer out of you, Mike, and Ethan? Oh, Victor. Definitely me. I think I got 10 years on those guys. Art has been in comics for over 30 years. 35 years. I think it'll be 36. Coming up on 36. Fly with me forever high, and with these wings will set the world on fire. Set the world on fire, Symphony X. Art's a master. Vinny Coletta is still one of my faves. Wait, is that Vinny? Wait. Did I say the name wrong? Coluda. I don't know who that is, though. That name does not ring a bell, Linkovich. Central Scrutinizer Avenge is still around, mostly doing thinly veiled knockoffs of the Black Album these days. Oh, the Metallica stuff, yeah. What was that? Hail the King? That's on that album, right? Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was a little weird. Oh, I love Pussifer. Is that Keith Dotson? Yeah, I like that. What is that? What is it? It's like that country song. I effed. What's his name? My Country Boner, I think it's called. My country boner, my boner won't go down. And then he talks about all these country stars that he effed. I like those guys. Is that Maynard? Yeah, Maynard is the Pussifer guy. Oh, Perfect Circle. Holy shit, man. Yeah, Perfect Circle, man. You talk about kind of taking Tool and making it a little bit more mainstream, but still very. It's a little bit more commercial, but I guess mainstream's not quite the word for it. Maynard's got a great voice, man. I wish he'd write more music and do more music. I just meant Maynard was a weird singer and they're successful, not a crazy Tool fan, but I appreciate what they do. I think Maynard has a great voice. He's a weird dude, but I don't think his voice sounds weird. Nighthawk Warrior, cool. I liked Tool back when I was late 20s. Now I would just hear the lyrics and scoff. Yeah, I think we grow out of some of this stuff. Oh, King Crow, Art hit it on the head. Sure as hell do. I always do. Right. Well, sometimes I hit it right between the eyes too. Not just on the head, but right between the eyes. Oh, it's no. I think you said it right. Talus. Yeah, that's what I spelled. Talas. Yeah, I'll look them up. Racer X was great. Jeff from Racer X was briefly in Leatherwolf. I tried out as a singer for them. Oh, Keith, cool. Keith, you have a demo? Do you have a place we could hear you sing? Played with Zappa. Pussifer was a funny sounding name. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Pussifer is meant to be taken too seriously. I think it's just a little aside for Maynard to have fun with. Jeff Martin's vocals on Street Lethal. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm having fun talking about rock and roll with you guys. I don't think Rush is a prog rock in that case. I can't find a good example. Maybe the modern band, hell yeah. I think they get lumped in that prog rock category, Victor. I'm not gonna totally trump you on this, but I'm pretty positive they have had a lot of mainstream success though. So maybe that's why people don't think of them as a prog rock band. Rush is definitely prog, Central Scrutinizer says. On those early records, they venture into program music territory and all kinds of other stuff. Hell, even the early 80s mixing in reggae and whatnot. That was new territory. Yeah. I think Slick Rick got hidden in the chat, so I think he wrote down the lyrics to the Country Boner song. And doesn't he say something like it won't? It's like my boner won't go down. You know the singer Shakira She kind of sounds like the lead singer from Led Zeppelin because their music inspired her. Yeah, she's got a pretty high vocal range too. Yeah, I can see that. That would be cool to hear her do like some kind of like Zeppelin kind of like a song or something like that. Let me see if I can find my nib. Where the hell did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. Right in front of my face. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. All right, I'm going to do the transparencies in the smoke here. And I'm going to try to work a little bit fast so I can finish up all these background elements so I can get a sense of completion. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys hanging with me. It makes things go by faster and it's a lot more fun. And hell, if you can't have fun doing comic books, then what can you have fun at? Rock and roll, prog rock, playing in the band Yes, or Rush. Fly by night. That voice is crazy, man. It's very high. I think that new Rush album, is it Clockwork Angels? That I mean Geddy's voice is a little weak and you can tell he's an older dude. But I thought the songwriting in that album and as a concept, it's pretty cool. I thought it was a good album. They still put a big stage setup together. I saw them at the Forum during the Moving Pictures tour. Pretty killer. Yeah, they had a really big show, like multimedia, big screens and stuff like that. Pretty neat. So one of the things you don't want to do, or I don't want to do on these rocks, is I don't want any line to be too clean or too perfect. Because I'm going to do some really controlled rendering on the judge. So I want all of the background to look different. So I want it to look very organic. So I'm using a lot of different movements so it doesn't look too slick. Yeah. So also so the rocks look different than the figure than other stuff. So one of the things, it's not just about foreground, midground, background, but we also want to kind of distinguish between like textures, things like that. Wow, I had no idea how much I needed to draw. This feels really good. I feel like I'm back doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So this side is almost done. I'm going to start working on the other side because it's a lot of wet ink over here. That's the biggest challenge actually for me inking is if you want to work fast, you have to know where to put your hand so you don't smudge the ink, because the ink can take a while to dry. So you don't want to put your hands somewhere where it's not good. Let me see. I can see when the light hits it if it's dry. All right. I think I can come back. I don't have to go to the other side. So there's that. Let's get into this. Like I said, the key to this is not to make any of the lines similar and not to make them too straight, to kind of keep moving around, because you don't want it to look too like if things are too lined up, they look like they're machined. So when you do organics, always try to remember, that if you make the lines too controlled, too where they all line up and things like that, it looks very machined. But at the same time, if you want to do something more like a machine, like if it's a car or airplane or something like that, then it's perfect. Then you have that very controlled look that you can do and bring that into the machine or the more tech stuff. You can get all the little textures in. Excuse me. Okay, so now I'm going to do... I shouldn't do those because I still have to figure out how the boot works, but I can do this. And this is... It's texture, but it's the shadow that she's casting. So I didn't even want to really do the shadow in like any kind of real unified way. So the shadow that's cast on the rocks is still done in the same rock style. So that's kind of the idea there. I know, you guys. Work faster. Get it done. Get her, dude. Okay, I got a couple nicks here. Here. And the nicks are important because they show that there's a little bit of a indent. It's flat and then it indents. So those little nicks represent that. And I'll put a couple lines here just so you can see some detail through the smoke. All right, I'll continue my shadow. This is a deeper shadow, so I'm using thicker lines and making them closer together than I did here. And so then these ones, I'm just going to kind of give a hint, and this is the rest of the shadow here. And then go into these here, and I'm going to make them closer and heavier as I go here to show that it's kind of going away and give it some depth. Okay, so close. So close to getting it done. And my family's still at home. I'm going to be afraid to look at the credit card. right. I think that foreground. Oh, I have this here. Okay, and then I get a couple. I used to call these like nick hatches. They're just like these little nick movements. So one of the other things is you want to try to, use as many different type of varieties of lines and textures as you can. The eye gets bored pretty fast, so you gotta kind of always break it up with something interesting and different. So the more variety you can bring to your line work, the better. And so you can see this is fading into a shadow here. So I didn't want to make this shadow solid black. So it's kind of implied, and this is the shadow cast from her. And what I'm hoping is once all the blacks go in on her figure, and in the background here, these rocks will look unique and different, and they'll stand out. I might have to reevaluate that as I get closer to bringing those other elements in. So always don't be afraid to reevaluate your work as you're working on it. So I always do. So I'm still making creative decisions all the way down to the end of the piece. So this smoke goes into the eye of the skeleton, head. All right, and if you can't, I'll show you how this mist is, or the smoke is going to work. So it comes up from the wreckage here, and then it's going to swirl around her here. So we have, so you can see it kind of swirling around, and then it goes all the way behind her and comes out here. And we want to keep like similar line weights to the ones we had down below, so it looks like it's part of the same mist or smoke or whatever you want to call it. So I got this little end right here, but I had to refresh the nib. All right, let's see what we got. So I believe that's all, other than there is some smoke into the skulls, but that takes care of everything except for this part of the shadow. As far as the background rocks and smoke. So I'll give you guys a closer look, then I'll catch up in the chat, and then I'll let you guys go. So yeah, next week is gonna be fun because I'm gonna get to do more drawing, and I like to draw. Okay, so now I am going back to the chat, back to the wall. Okay, let's see what we got. All right. Joe's Garage. Joe's Garage, that's Zappa, right? Where are you guys going? Where you guys going, son? Didn't Zappa get wasn't Frank Zappa considered prog? He denounces it, or denounced it in his time. Dude, man, you guys have been busy. All right, holy moly, how far does this go back? What's the time on this? Wait a minute. I met a really nice artist at Jeffrey's Comics back in the day named R.T. Bear. Keith Dotson. So you're a local dude, man. Yeah, that was a great comic shop. I met Danny Mickey through Jeffrey's Comics. You know the singer? Okay, we got that. Mars Volta. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like those guys. Or even Cedric Bixler Zavala. Oh, I'm writing that name down too. Thank you, Rhaegar. I'm going to look these names up. I'll have some music for next week when I'm doing my drawings. Cedric Bixler, E-R. Stupid art. Zavala. Yeah, you guys always feel free to turn me on to new music. King Crimson, yes. I think King Crimson was at that thing with Norm. It was a bunch of prog rock bands. Mars Volta. Yeah. It's like poor man's King Crimson. Why'd you have to throw poor man? Why'd you have to do that? Throwing some shade at the poor Mars Volta guys. The one I can't stand that everybody went crazy is, what is it, Van Fleet? What the hell are those guys? What is that band called? They're like Led Zeppelin. Something Van Fleet. Oh, those guys are obnoxious. Oh, he sounds just like Led Zeppelin. Yeah, if it was just one thing that Robert Plant does. Because that guy just does the one thing. But Robert Plant had many different ranges and he sang in a lot of different styles. So it wasn't obnoxious. Get a Frog Book, a Shark Book, God King, and Downcast. Make it 4. That's Frode79. Or is it Frode or Fraud? I don't know how to say that word. Test for Echo. That's Rush. Receive 4 IndieGoGo projects within the last weekend. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Oh, cool, man. I'm glad. Oh, you got your black and white book. I hope I'm saying it right. Fraud or Frode 79 received 4 IndieGoGo projects within the last week, and black and white is on the way. Oh, you didn't get black and white yet. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's good timing to getting mail. Yeah, the books are going out, man. A batch of them went out today. So my wife doesn't make like big, like, oh, here's 50 books at a time. She does like 10, maybe 20 books, and then brings them to the post office maybe every day, every other day. She just, it's more what she can handle as far as weight and stuff. Salt and Pepper Stream, yeah, the old guy. Got it. I'm only 40 and I have Arts Main. Oh, you know what? I kind of started going gray early too. My dad he was kind of cool by my age. He had like pure white hair. It actually, for some reason, it looks kind of cool when you just have white hair. Microns are inconsistent. I've had really good ones and I've had garbage. So that's Keith. Yeah, microns are okay. I still like the nib. It's more a versatile tool. Joe's Garage is the best concept album. Joe's Garage is that's Zappa, right? Gosh, I should know that stuff. Back to Keith. Me too. I try to use the quills, but it usually ends up with me cussing up a storm. Yeah, but once you get those things down, they're your best friend because you can do stuff that you can't do with those other tools. It's way more versatile. Oh, Greta Van Fleet. Yeah, how do you guys in the chat feel about that? Ugh. Ew. Lead Fleet. Ugh. God. That guy annoys me too. I'm sorry. Usually I don't have visceral reactions to people, but that singer, he just kind of bugs me. For some reason, I think they just look like they look like posers to me. They don't look like the real deal. Like the one cool thing about rock and roll, and I never really realized this when I was playing in the day and stuff. It's kind of the poor white kid's way out, you know? Like you always hear about the inner city kid. He can throw, he can throw a mean ball or through the hoop, or he's a good, he's a good football player or something like that, or a boxer. Usually those type of sports get the inner city kids out, into, like where they can make a great living and, superstardom. I think like rock and roll in the day was that for white kids, like poor white kids, and even in London and Britain, most of the rockers and stuff, they were pretty they're pretty poor. So I even look at like my brief career. I had about 10 years where I played semi-professionally, and the reason I say semi-professionally is like. They were paying gigs, but they were, like nightclubs and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think everybody had in common that we were all broke. And that my first really venture into the real world, like that broadened my eyes on like that there's more to the world than just my neighborhood. And what got me out there was music. So it did broaden my horizons. It got me out. It got me thinking, and actually thinking more like a business person too, because you have to market your band, you sell it, you have to meet with promoters and do a lot of stuff like that. So I think rock and roll definitely groomed me early for comic books and the freelance lifestyle. No, I never did jam with Larry Hama. There's a lot of musicians in comic books, though. I think they work real well together. I think there's a lot of artists slash musicians on both. There's musicians that are artists and vice versa. What is the cool one is like even remember Phil Hartman, the stand-up comedian, and he was on SNL and he did some voices for The Simpsons and stuff. That guy was a graphics designer. He was an artist. He did album cover art. He did the cover for Poco. It's that white album with that kind of brush look, kind of what do you call that? Suggested line. It's just like a really simple horse that's just done with like some brush strokes. And that was him. I think he actually either got nominated for awards for that album cover or did actually win some. So there's a lot of really talented people that play music and that draw and that even are comedians or just stand-ups. So I think just creativity is the bottom line. Rock was the working class whites, what jazz and blues was for blacks. Yes, like blues, however. The trust fund posers came in. Yeah. You can tell though, man. You can tell. Like one of my favorite songs is Bon Scott. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. And man, those guys were the real deal. When he was singing, getting beat up, underpaid, all that stuff. It felt legit, man. Like that guy was talking about real stuff. And that's how rock and roll is. And then he said, "What is he? He uses a sense of humor. It's like, it's easier than it looks, or something like that." Yeah, that's good stuff. I as far as AC/DC, I liked the Bon Scott stuff way better than the Brian. What was his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. I liked the Back in Black album and the song For Those About to Rock. But other than that, I thought that Brian, oh my God, Johnson? Is his name Johnson? Brian Johnson. I don't know. I never warmed up to that guy. I like Bon Scott. I like Bon Scott because he had a cool rock voice, but he also had like a tongue-in-cheek attitude. That guy got beat up all the time for being a smart ass. I think I can relate to that. Not that I was beat up a lot, but I am a bit of a smart ass. Me too. Bon was awesome. Yes, Keith. And it is Johnson. Yeah, Brian Johnson. Okay, well, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to see what else trouble I can get into tonight. See if I can get a little bit more eyes on the Chrono campaign tonight. We are winding down on it. We're, let me see. Let's see if I can screen share. Okay, screen share here, and then come over to here, and then go here. So you should be seeing the Chrono Mechanics IndieGoGo page. So Chrono Mechanics, they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. 21,661. So we are closing in on 22K. 301 backers. Let's hit refresh. See where we're at. I don't think we got anything recently. Oh, we did. Ha 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 ha. So much for me. Yeah, very cool. I think we did. Wait a minute. Yeah, we did. Okay. So yeah, you guys, if you haven't, please come by. At least check out the campaign because I think it's just a fun page to look at. There's a lot of cool art. Check out the tiers. There's something for everybody here, and we got a lot of outside influences, superstar artists that lend a hand to this campaign, which I greatly appreciated. We have Narwhal in colors, and these are some of his pages. He's just knocking it out of the ballpark. And then we have, there's some of the sketchbook stuff. We have Oot. We have Sean Cheeks Galloway. I'd like to actually try to get a couple more of these into your hands because the higher the print run, the better price break I get. So right now they're a little low, and I know that variants usually don't do as well, but these were just so good, and the guys, they just volunteered the artwork, which was amazing and very generous, so I appreciate it. So Ood is Sean Cheeks Galloway, and Doug is Tom Bancroft, who, if you don't know, he does do comics. I think he did Opposing Forces. Opposite Forces. It was a comic book, and it was quite cool. And so he's done some comic book work in the past, but he's mainly known as a Disney animator. So his biggest claim to fame, as far as I'm concerned, is his work on Mulan. So he was the key animator, and I believe he designed Mushu, the dragon, for that. And he did a killer drawing for my daughter. So I have an original Tom Bancroft drawing of Mushu somewhere. So that was very cool. He was very generous with that. And superstar Aaron Lopresti, who he has Garbage Man up right now. So he has an IndieGoGo as well. And I believe he's starting Justice League or has been doing Justice League for DC Comics. And I've thrown ink over him a couple times. Our run on Detective Comics was awesome. A chance to do Batman with Aaron Lopresti. It was a dream come true. So, God, I love the colors on this. Look at this. This is Carlo Barberi and my inks with Perea on colors. And Perea did the color work on black and white as well. So he's really, really good. He's a bad ass. Shut your mouth. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, the black and white books are still going out, so check your mailbox. All the PDFs have been uploaded, so check your spam folders too if you haven't got notification yet. So, and then Chrono, I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to do this slowly so you can get one last look. Look at this greatness. This truly is, it's a really unique comic, you guys. Not just visually, but the tone of the book as well. I defy anybody to not chuckle out loud when they read this book. It is just a real fun, in the truest of sense, escapism. This world and these characters are so rich and unlike anything you've read before. This is not a contrivance. I mean, there's definitely influences here, but I'd be hard pressed to really nail it down. There are comparisons. Most notably, people say like Hitchhiker's Guide, but I think it goes well beyond that. So let's go. We're almost to the top now. There's the cover. There's our campaign overview. Oh, I should show you these things real fast too. The writer on this book is unsurpassed. I will write nevermore. Edgar Allan Poe, writer of scary stories and bird lover. And then we have a review from Aristotle. All the knowledge of the universe is in this book. Deep, huh? So Aristotle is some know-it-all. Some know-it-all in a bathrobe. Sorry, I was looking away. The heater just went on. And it makes a bunch of noise. What? Van Gogh? Deaf artist and lunatic. He's a little crazy. This book is pure gold. No, I touched the damn thing. How does it end? Midas, very rich king and hands-on kind of guy. So then we have Ben Franklin. This book is a shocking discovery. Inventor and avid kite flyer. And last but not least, Einstein. T-Bear makes time travel relatively fun. Smarty pants scientist. So you can see it's just good fun. We play with time travel. The characters are fun and unique. The concept, I think, is fairly unique and different. So I think you'll have a fun time reading it. So we have 29 hours left. So we're almost a day away from closing this bad boy. So thanks to all. Thank you. I will see you in the next stream somewhere down the line. I'll see if I can get myself into some trouble. Let me stop sharing with you guys and come back and go to my weird live stream tab. This is really bizarre, man. What is it? StreamYard is so much better. So much better. So thanks, guys, for hanging with me, making this a lot of fun, helping the time pass. And, oh, man, that's good. Edgar Allan Poe, Teller Tale of Hearts. That's good, too. So punny. Yes. You know what? I'm going to tell my wife that one. She'll laugh her ass off. The T-Bears here, we love puns. My daughter, no exception. Amanda loves the puns. So I'm not into horror titles, and even the old ultra-violent gets old on occasion. So I was stoked to find I was stoked to back Chrono for some laughs and fun adventure. Thank you, Mayfield Junks. Is it Jukes? Jukes. I appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it. So have a great night, everybody. Thank you, Keith. You too. And we'll see you in the next stream. Wait a minute. I don't know what freaking button to push. All right, here we go. I'll see you in the next stream, you guys. Take care.